Okay, so if you remember, we left off by saying that the number of painters was going to be X and the number of sculptors would be Y, and so we're looking for the points on the scatter plot that would be XY. In other words, 31, 28 and 42, 33, etc. And we could keep going. So we are trying to answer the question, what error did Jasmine likely make? And so what we need to do is take a look at all the scatter plots and look for these points, 31, 28, 42, 33, 49, 52, etc., and see which one is correct. And if we're looking for an error, then we have to find out what that was. So let's take a look. Here's her scatter plot, and let me erase that. And so again, we're looking for the numbers. Let's go back and check. 31, 28, 42, 33. But I don't see those. So let's take a look at what are the possibilities. Well, did she use an incorrect scale? Did she plot too many points? Did she switch the axes labels, or she forgot to plot some of the points? Well, if you take a look at that, pause the video and take a look at that. Okay, and did you come back? Now what you're going to notice is that she simply switched the axes labels. This one. Okay, so let's go on. Okay, so part B. Explain the relationship between the number of painters and sculptors enrolled in the art school. Either there's no relationship, that's what I'm reading right here, or painters increases as sculptors decreases, or sculptors stay the same as painters increase, or painters and sculptors increase together. Well, if we go back to the scatter plot, this one, we'll notice that we could draw a line that looks kind of like this, and it goes through the data, kind of like that. And that means as the number of sculptors increases, the number of painters is increasing. They're both going up. So we come back to this question, we're going to notice that we need to put the number of painters and sculptors increase together. Okay, so part C asks us, Jasmine's scatter plot shows two possible outliers. Identify them and explain why they are outliers. And remember, an outlier is something that looks like it's on the graph but not part of a cluster. So it looks like it's just sitting apart from the other points. So let's take another look at the scatter plot. And we notice that there are possible outliers. It might be this one or this one. These points look like they are sitting just away from the other points, possible outliers. Not definite, but possible. So we go back to our question back here, and we notice that it was this one at 11.5 and this one at 21.50. Just if you want to see that again. So here's 20.50 and here's 11.5 right there. Okay, on to number 5. This one says, use the scatter plot to answer the question, and that would be this scatter plot right here. It says 10 athletes ran 2 races of the same length. The scatter plot shows their times. Select all statements that are true. Okay, let's go back to the scatter plot. And you can see that they are in a big cluster right there, right? Okay, and you can see that this is the time for the first race in seconds, and this is the time for the second race in seconds. So we need to select all the statements that are true here. And it says, A, there were 2 athletes whose times in the 2 races differed by exactly 1 second. Okay, well, let's look back. 2 athletes who differed by 1 second. means that the time in the first and second race, that they would be exactly in line with each other in a vertical line. Like this. It means they would be in an exact vertical line like this. Oops. Like this. And like this. And like this. So how many vertical lines can you draw? You see the middle red line goes through 3 points, but the one on the left and the one on the right each go through 2 points. So it does look like there's one athlete on the right and one athlete on the left whose times are different by exactly 1 second. So that does seem to be true. So we would mark that one. B, 8 of the times for the second race were less than 18 seconds. Let's go back and see if we can figure that out. 8 of the times were less than 18 seconds, so that's this line right here. Right here at 18, that's this line right here. And let's count up the dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's true also. So let's select that one. B. C. There were 3 athletes who had the same time in both races. Let's go back and take a look at that. 3 athletes who had the same time in both races. No, that's not true. Otherwise the dots would be on top of each other. D. There were 4 athletes who were slower in the second race than in the first. Well, if they were slower in the second race than in the first, what that would mean is that their time on the y-axis would be below the time on the x-axis. And that's impossible to tell, so we'll move on. And E, 9 of the times for the first race were at least 17 seconds. Okay? 9 of the times for the first race were at least 17 seconds, and 17 is about right here. Right through the middle right there. And that's not true either. So, looks like we have what we need right there.